My eyebrows may be too intense for this video. What is up, you guys? It's me, your girl, your Casey. How you doing, you dang sexy thing? I mean, just look at that glitter and complexion upon ya. You're like a statue made of diamonds, except you can move, so you're not a statue. You're a robot made of diamonds, but you also have a heart, so you're a person made of diamonds. Yeah. What I have here today is a short and sweet Myers-Briggs personality book tag sort of shenanigan thing we got going on here. If you don't know what Myers-Briggs is, it's a test you take, and it's, aptitude, how you think, what's your extroversion or introversion levels. Do you get around based on what you're sensing around you or what your intuition inside of you says? What do you depend on more to make a decision, thinking or feeling? Based on all of that, you take the test and it scores it up, and you can be sorted into 16 different categories saying, this is your personality type. Some examples are ISFJs, which means introvert, sensing, feeling, judgment. No, not judgment, judging. It basically just tells you how you are, why you are. Why are any of us? Why? After taking this test about 3 years ago, I am an INFJ, which, not to brag, but that's the rarest combination, so gaze upon this rarity. But there was a cool tag created with books based on the Myers-Briggs personality test. I used to be really fond and into this test, but I've kind of moved on to Enneagrams. I love Enneagrams because I am a literal stereotypical type 3. Literally, you could crack the entire code of Casey by just researching why are type 3s so sensitive. I call type 3s the glorified show-offs. It is very true. But because I am an INFJ, my first question is for that I in the INFJ, the introvert part. So the way this test sorts you into your Myers-Briggs personality types, it's like a scale just weighing you, like how much you tend to lean towards introversion or extroversion. I gotta tell you, my scale was all the way on introversion. I think I got a perfect 30 out of 30 for it. I ain't complaining. It's literally me. Everyone stay away from me. I just want to be by myself. Parties? Anyways, tag question 1. Introvert. You can be outgoing, but need to recharge with some calming solitude. Where is your favorite place to read and unwind? Why is this little oasis where you choose to go? I have tried because I like writing in coffee shops, and it works beautifully. If I tried to read in a coffee shop, it don't work. Mostly because all my coffee shops are attached to bookstores. So my paranoid brain is always like, if I take out a book in this coffee shop, the bookstore next door will think I stole this book without paying for it, and I can't survive in prison. And I think it's because writing is me pushing information out of my brain into a page, while me reading is absorbing all the stuff around me, mostly the book in front of me, but I'm unintentionally picking up on all the background noise around me, so I'm just sucking in all this stuff like Kirby, and it's just too much distraction. So what I like to read is this beautiful bed right here. My best friend got me through a lot of junk with its nice, comfy, pillowy embrace. The N in INFJ stands for intuition. We just pretend that other I doesn't exist. Some books are meant to be understood and others are meant to be explored. What book or character stands for an idea that is deeply meaningful to you? Well, to me. I and you in this situation. Hi. Some books are meant to be understood while some are meant to be explored. I tend to prefer understood because if there's some bad books we could explore, like Kafka on the Shore. And because that book is nothing but nonsensical nonsense. Nothing but nonsensical nonsense. I'm surprised I said that correctly the first time. But Kafka in that book does stand for something immensely meaningful to me. He stands for everything I hate about a book. An unlikable protagonist, cringy sex scenes, confusing plots over descriptive writing. There was a scene where a weird teleporting time demon thing, I don't know, decided to kill a bunch of animals in order to take their hearts and make a magic food out of them. I like that scene, but everything else, no. So Kafka is everything that I hate, but a book that I really like. Actually, the most important thing that's meaningful for me in a book is the characters, hence why I'm so adamant about my hatred for Kafka. Stupid weirdo. But I have to mention the Goldfinch, because that was some good stuff right there. Usually I don't like descriptions or overly descriptive stuff. I was going to say Tana Dart. That's not how we say her name. Donna Tartt managed to make New York City just so homey feeling for descriptions. The Goldfinch is about this boy who survives this awful terrorist attack, like a bombing of a museum that he's in. He's one of the few survivors, and while he was in the museum, and it's all exploding around him, and he's in the rubble, he manages to find this painting that, like him, has survived the carnage. So he takes the painting with him. But he was 6 at the time, didn't really realize this was grand theft, because that was a very famous painting of a goldfinch. So after little 6-year-old Theo, he's our main protagonist, and he was such a good character. Like, I was so invested in his plight and just his daily life that I was actually talking to the book, like, don't do that, Theo. Theo, I'm your moral compass. I'm your Jiminy Cricket. Don't do that. But little 6-year-old Theo, before he turned into angsty teenager Theo, the police sorted out the terrorist bombing thing, and they were like, oh, be on the lookout for this missing painting, and little Theo was like, I stole a missing painting, that means the police officers are gonna put me in jail. So he hides this painting for all of his life, and it's kind of like his treasure, like, ooh, I'm looking after this thing that no one else can have, and it's worth so much. But it's also like a source of anxiety for him, like, I have committed a felony. So what is most meaningful to me is an emotional connection with the reader. No, I'm the reader. Am I emotionally connected with myself? And I think Theo Decker of The Goldfinch got all of that out of me. I was sad when he was sad, I was happy when he was happy, and he deserves all the happiness and hugs, but rarely got them. Good book, I recommend. I'm currently reading Donna Tartt's other book, The Secret History. This is actually a kinda reread because I DNF'd it. Not because it was bad, I was just on a ton of drugs then. I had a toothache and I couldn't concentrate. But now I'm easing back into her writing style, and it's very good. The F in INFJ, it stands for feelings. I don't know why I'm an INFJ. It really just depends on the situation. Because do I admit I have feelings? It depends on the situation, but usually no. But then again, am I a thinker, which is the opposite of feeler in this situation? No, I'm kind of dumb. Here's an example of the recent drama in my life, okay? I just started my summer classes. I'm taking 4 classes, so 4 times the anxiety. I ordered all of my books, but one textbook is on back order. It's the first week of class, and I already have some assignments due, and it's that book that's still on back order, and I need that for my homework. So I first I emailed my professor. I'm like, hi, Professor Man. It's Casey, and I don't mean to be rude or anything, but my book's on back order and I can't do the homework, so what we gonna do? He's like, oh, let us just meet up at the college, and then I will give you the textbook that you may borrow. And I'm like, swag diggity, that sounds good. But I'm calling him from my work now, and I'm trying to arrange this meeting, like what time? And let's say the college is here, and he lives here. Meanwhile, I'm at work way over there. So I'm calling Mr. Professor guy, and I'm like, hey, my mommy said she'll come pick it up for me because she's super close by. He's like, that's fine. So the day goes on. My mom texts me saying, hey, I got the book you need. And I'm like, yay, I can do homework. Huzzah, my life is terrible if I'm celebrating about this. So then I leave work, I go home, and there's a textbook sitting on the kitchen counter. And I'm like, that looks familiar. Weirdly familiar. Y'all, I am so dumb. I had emailed one of my other professors. So the professor who gave me the textbook, he wasn't the professor of the class I needed the textbook for. So he let me borrow a textbook that I already had. You need proof of my stupidity? It's right here. The good news is I just got an email before filming this saying that my textbook that has been on back order for 2 weeks has finally delivered today. I just gotta pick it up, so yay. In summary, I am stupid. So I'm not a thinker, I'm a feeler. Not everything needs to be realistic. Where's the fun in a world with limits? Technically the world is filled with limits. Gravity, the amount of oxygen you can hold in your lungs, my brain capacity. But anyways, which fantasy world do you find so atmospheric you slip inside and never want to leave? Oh, I know what this is. It's the Enchantment of Raven's World. It is such a short book, and that devastates me. It needs to be 1,000 pages. It needs a sequel. It needs a series. It needs me as the actress in the movie. And Enchantment of Ravens is a fae book, and I really like fae books. But it seems like all of them are all about how the fae, the fairies, are so hoity-toity and just mean to the humans, and they're always like, let's wage war on them, let's enslave them, let's play havoc on their lives, stuff like that. But in the Enchantment of Raven's world, it's like we got a symbiosis going on, because the humans, they're not so thrilled about the fairies, but the fairies, they all rich, they grant wishes and curses and stuff like that, and the humans want that. Meanwhile, the fairies, they're immortal, they can do all sorts of magic, but the one thing, which is actually a broad many things they can't do, is make a craft. Like, they can't write. That's a craft. You're writing a book. They can't draw. It's art. They can't even make a fire or cook. So they need humans to do that for them, so they pay for their services. So, it's a business agreement. I'm a business major. I know this. Evidenced by those 2 textbooks I showed you. So I'm already madly in love with the setting, but the atmosphere and just the writing style is very flowery and colorful. Like the most minute movements is described so fluidly, and I loved it. During like the action scenes, like, fairies fighting with swords on horseback and stuff like that. It didn't happen a lot, but it did happen a lot during the final climax, the final chapters. All that flowery terminology did kind of muddle the pacing, make some things confusing, but I loved the story, I loved the characters, I loved the atmosphere, the setting, the writing style. I just loved everybody gets a kiss, except Kafka, because Kafka is stupid. The J in INFJ stands for judging, and I do judge a lot. My actual nickname is Judgy Eyes. My parents actually have a picture of me on their refrigerator, with me just staring at the camera, judging their food choices through the photo. Everybody needs a little judgment every now and then to keep them on track of their dietary choices, okay? I'm trying to help, but all play and no work leads to chaotic disorder and anarchy. I actually like anarchy. How do you structure and balance your reading, booktube, and personal life to better use your time? How? First off, sleep is for the weak. You don't need it. It's just recommended. So don't do that. It helps if I specifically set aside days for certain things. Like today, this is Tuesday. This is gonna be a filming day. Huzzah. Oh, but we have to take break in between filming, or, my throat will get all jaggedy. That's not a word. What am I gonna do in those breaks? Oh, I don't know. What? Oh, you wake up at 4 a.m. because your constant anxiety over schoolwork and social life and work life keeps you up? Let's write a book. That's how I do it. And finally, we put all those random letters together. INFJ. And that makes the counselor. That is what I am. I actually don't agree with that description, because I'm very bad at giving people advice. I'm a very suck-it-up buttercup type. Or I'm the opposite sometimes, and I just cry along with you. I'm no help to anyone. Suck it up, buttercup. Buckle up, buttercup. Buttercup the cat from the Hunger Games. I like buttercups. But as the counselor, the INFJ personality type is described as a creative nurturers with a strong sense of personal integrity and a drive to help others realize their potential. Creative and dedicated, they have a talent for helping others with original solutions to their personal challenges. The counselor has a unique ability to intuit others' emotions and motivations, and will often know how someone else is feeling before that person knows it himself. They trust their insights about others and have strong faith in their ability to read people, like I read a book to pump. Although they are sensitive, they are also reserved. That part is very true. I cry, and I cry alone. Sensitive and reserved. The INFJ is a private sort and is selective about sharing intimate thoughts and feelings. I agree with about half of that. I am a locked book. I am actually that book from Harry Potter, the monster book that tries to eat you. I don't have a nurturing bone in my body. Except with dogs. I like dogs. But for the final question, the INFJ, the counselor, yes, we're a bit odd, but we've also filled with intuition and empathy. What is a book you would recommend to a friend having a hard time? This is what I'm good for. This is where my nurturing part does come out. Because, as a reader of many genres, like 4 of them, I am quite adept at recommending people books. And there's one book that actually made me laugh out loud, and I would love to give it to everyone, and it's Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. It's a very broadly relatable book. You're feeling down, read this book. You need a laugh, read this book. You just need to be reminded that people are people and everybody's going through the same struggles as you, just in slightly different formats. Read this book. It's so funny. Oh my gosh, I had not laughed so hard reading a book before. And y'all, that is it. That is a deeper dive into my brain, to my heart, to my book taste. Fun times, man. Comment down below what your personality type is. If you haven't heard or taken the Myers-Briggs test yet, I'll leave a link down below so you maybe can join the illustrious ranks of the INFJ, the rarest of the rarest. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, stay reading, my bros.